I outed myself as far as mental health on the Howard Stern show because he wouldn't let me. That's why I love that you covered my hands. He wouldn't let me touch the door. Do you know the story? He wouldn't. Yeah. So he wouldn't let me touch the door. Somebody had touched it after touching their penis, and
there's a lot of penis talk on this show today for some reason.
Is that the title of this episode?
We'll just have to have a separate little segment.
Okay. So anyway, but I didn't want to touch the door, and then they thought it was funny, and I get it. I think it's funny too to try to get me to torture me to touch the door. But I started having a panic attack, and I said to him, "Please," because he's a friend. I said, "Please, Howard, I've been diagnosed with something called OCD. I'm medicated, and if you don't open the door now, I could tell that you're going to have to call 911. I'm going to pass out." And they opened the door and they let me out in the hall. And then, to my surprise, the speakers were still in the hall. They were still live. I thought we were in a commercial. I had no idea that we were still broadcasting, and it was broadcasted nationally. And this is in 1998 or 1999. Which is 24 years ago, and I had not talked to anybody. I didn't, I ended up getting diagnosed because my wife threatened to leave me. I'm hard to be with. I really legitimately am more comfortable with socks on my hands. It's funny now, but to live with somebody that needs this is not easy. And I walked outside devastated after that happened on Howard Stern, thinking this was the end. Number one, I had embarrassed and humiliated my kids and my family who were in school at the time, talking about that their dad is mental. And I'll never work again. Who's going to hire somebody that has a mental health problem? And I didn't know what to do. I was contemplating running straight into traffic in Manhattan there, standing on the sidewalk when somebody came up to me and said, "Are you Howie Mandel?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I just heard you on Howard Stern," and my heart just sunk into my stomach. And I go, "This is it." But then he went, "Me too." And I went, "Me? What does that even mean, me too?" He goes, "No, I suffer from it too. And it was so good to hear you talk." And I went, it was the first time that I shared, he threw me this buoy, this life preserver. And I went, "Wow, really?" And he goes, "Yeah, thank you." And I never heard that before. And then I went home and I started, this is before the internet, and I started getting letters, tons of letters.
This gets me choked up. It does, because by that, I don't think it's an accident. I tend to think those things are happening for a reason. That's the faith part of me, I don't know. But I'm picturing that moment of him, the stranger walking up to you and saying, "Me too." And then by you accidentally doing that, that guy knew he wasn't alone. And who knows who he helped after that.
Right.
Right? The power of that to me is amazing.
Well, the power is still today. That's why we're having this discussion today.
Yeah.
This was the biggest, dirtiest, darkest secret for me, that I had mental health problems. And as a child of the 50s and 60s, people didn't really talk about that. Mm-hmm. And now I realize not only is it important to talk about it, it is paramount. It is the thing in every walk of life. You come from sports. You'll be a better athlete. You'll be a better parent. You'll be a better person if you take care of it. It's like making a decision to never go to the dentist. I don't want to talk about my teeth. I don't want anybody to know I have anything about my teeth. Your teeth could rot out of your fucking head. Your mind could rot out of your fucking head if you don't. And we all have shit in our life. We all will, every single person, whether you recognize it or not, are being traumatized throughout their life. Maybe they don't know it, but it is. You lose a parent, you lose a relationship, you get deathly ill, you become a parent, you are handed so much responsibility and you don't know how to deal with it. We are being bombarded each and every day with social media that kind of, cements that we are not doing our best.
The toll that is taken, to me, is devastating on society. Whether it's our children or ourselves, that toll, to me, I don't know that we'll ever fully be able to appreciate it in our lifetimes.
But the toll it takes on you have the power to remove that toll.
Yeah.
And I have the power. I feel like the luckiest guy in the world now because, as I said to you earlier in this podcast, everything that I've ever been expelled for, hit for, gotten in trouble for is what I get paid for. And for the first time in my life, and I learned, Deal or No Deal was the first time. It was a job I didn't want to do, but it was the first time I didn't do comedy. I didn't act as a character, and I was just myself. And I was so embarrassed. I went and flew off the coast of America to not be here when it aired. It's my biggest success to date. But what came out is they're standing there with real people. And I was so afraid to be funny because I didn't want to distract you as the contestant so that you didn't because people weren't making good decisions. You know, I'd meet a single mother of 3. I have her picture up. Her name's Karen Van. A single mother of 3 who's never owned a home, never had insurance, has 3 little guys that were sitting there in the audience, and I say, they offer you 20 grand. She lives someplace in middle America where you could buy a house for that.
Yeah.
She goes, no deal. And that's when it even changed my cadence. I started going, listen, Karen, yes, slow down.
Yeah.
The offer is $20,000. Double what you have in the bank right now.
Oh my gosh.
More than it would take you 9 months to make that. And the offer right now is for just going home. Deal or no deal. And it was more about the way I would talk to my child. Think about what you were doing. And all I served on that show is empathy. And I was so afraid and so embarrassed.
I remember it. I mean, you took it personally.
Really personal.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in the room when you make a fucked up decision where you have an opportunity in your life to change your life. That's what I love about AGT so much. I love AGT because I'm in the room when somebody shows up with, and you'll never get a fraction of this on TV or on YouTube. But when somebody shows up and they go, you know, my whole life, I just wanted to sing. It got me through when my mom had cancer. I just wanted to sing. And they show up and they sing. And you feel in the room that they've blown the roof off the place. Not only have they blown the roof off the place, 1 billion people, you know, we get 1 billion clicks a year on that, are going to watch this. Everybody's going to know your name. Your life is never going to be the same. You could drive down the strip now in Vegas and every billboard has some connection to AGT. And I'm in the room and see a dream come true. It's like being every day and watching the underdog at a Super Bowl win. It's like being on the field. So, you know, I'm a party to that and I get to do things and I feel like the luckiest guy in the world that's just kind of observing and experiencing life and partaking in whatever help I need. And I need a lot of help, a lot of time to do it. So.
But do you appreciate how much you are helping them as well?
I'm aware of it, appreciate it. It's not for me to appreciate it. So if anybody gets anything out of any conversation or any appearance I make, I love that. And I'm happy for that. But what I realize is, you know, in this business, people will say to you, and they probably, how do you want to be remembered? And I always say, I won't. You won't. We're here in Hollywood, walk down Hollywood Boulevard. I defy you to be able to identify 30% of the names you see on the stars on Hollywood Boulevard. You know, they're from way long ago. I have a star on Hollywood Boulevard.
Right.
But the truth is, you won't. You won't. You won't. Unless you're Christopher Columbus, you won't be remembered. My thing is that I don't want to be remembered. I just want to be nice. Just be nice. That's all I want. I just want to be nice now. I just want your interaction with me, whether you're my child, whether you're my friend, whether you're the host of this podcast. I just want it to be a nice time, a good time. If you glean something from it, you glean something from it. But there's so much darkness in this world and so much shit. And people are you talk about social media, you know, and I know you went through a shitstorm too. People are so divisive and so angry and so mean that if you are just nice, you are fucking sunshine. And just be nice to one another and just have respect for one another. And I don't care if it's your child and I don't think it's your... No, I'm doing that.
You're doing it now, but you've done that forever is what it feels like when you go back to whatever the beginning is, right? But I feel like from a distance, you've always led with that. And the fact that that's your goal is to make it happy. I mean, you're right.
Did you order a smoothie?
No.
Oh, because I thought somebody was making a... What?
Somebody put an ice maker.
An ice maker in a podcast studio.
Some genius.
Who the fuck puts an ice maker?
I didn't ask for anything. I just...